Read a book or something. Okay.
All right, welcome to Witchpolice Radio. I'm here with a band, with three members of a band that has been on the show before, but it's been a while. I think the last time you were on was, in 2018, which doesn't seem like that long ago, but it is. We're already in 2021, and I know a lot's gone on kind of since then, since we first talked. You've had some lineup changes, you got new music coming out. So I think the best way to sort of start things off is if the three of you want to introduce yourselves and give some information about what you do in the band, and we can sort of take it from there.
All right.
Sure.
Hello, I'm Alex Strange. I am the lead singer, second guitarist, and third in looks. Yeah.
I'm Silvio. I'm number two, drummer number two.
Okay.
We don't have a one. It's just me, number two. And yeah. So we've been with Allen since we started the band with Ale.
Mm-hmm.
My name is Jaime. I'm the manager of the band. I'm with Indestructible Productions, and I didn't advise them about the looks thing. That's their own idea. I thought that's the last cast. So,
right.
But yeah. But the music is good. That's important.
The music is good, right? And that's why I'm happy to have you guys back on the show, because it's when I first heard about you years ago, I was very interested in learning more about your sound, and I mean it's been a while. So maybe catch me up. What has happened since then? Because you've had lineup changes. You've got the name of the band has even changed a little bit. You added the "and the strangers" part to the name. So just kind of fill me in. What's happened in the past couple of years with the band?
We remember when we were in the show the first time. I think we had like only 2 songs, something like that we were about to record, or we just recorded.
Yeah, you were pretty new at that point. Yeah.
Yeah, and after that, we all kind of learned a little bit more how to play our instruments, and we say, hey, you know what? Let's go. We started playing around to see which song we were able to create, and we separate ourselves a little bit from the covers that we were doing, and we started, hey, let's try to mix and match rhythms and see rhythm and styles and see what we can come out with. And I was listening to the album or the recordings that we have today, and every single song is different from the other. So I think we were, even though we're doing different styles, right now I think we are getting there to find our own voice.
Okay.
But yeah. So.
Well, and then maybe a difficult question to ask about that is, how do you define that voice? Because everyone likes to have a label and likes to figure out, what genre to put a band in. And I mean, I know from before and now you guys play a lot of different styles, and like you just said, and you're mixing a lot of different sounds from a lot of different cultures and backgrounds. So what's the easy way to sort of tell people what you play?
I think
that there's, you want to go? Yeah, I guess what I would say is that a very common problem that a whole lot of bands have with their first album is that they're trying to mash all their influences, and they're trying to they try to do things that they like. So I think that instead of defining ourselves too much, we're trying to do what we want to do, and
Okay.
And yes, that brings up inconsistencies, and we go from a reggae to a blues, a classic blues, to a more funky song, and I guess we're okay with that. And that works for us right now. But yeah, I think we're a bit all over the spectrum.
I like to add to that, and I think
Sure.
Alex, he gets it right. Like the band is exploring. It's their first album, and I mean they had a couple singles, but the other problem that we have being in Canada is that, if we were back in our countries, we would be a Latin rock band.
Right. Right.
And so the Latin rock sound is very, easy to identify. You have the backbeat, and then you have the Latin bit, and the Latin influences, whether it is Latin percussions or, some of the melodies that Latin music have, and that's what is Latin rock. But when you're in Canada, though, the moment you say rock, people expect one thing, right? And
sure,
what we do, it's more of from the Canadian perspective, it's more of a fusion. Still, we can call it Latin rock, but again, a lot fits into that box, right? In Latin America, whether it is, Alex was saying reggae, and so Latin rock, if we're in Argentina or in Chile, I would say rock fusion if we are here, because now we're being influenced by a lot of what's happening around us here, right? So Alex is right. It's hard to define now, but the band is definitely a backbeat band. We have Silvio. He loves his drum kit. He's always on the backbeat hard, and that's one characteristic. The other one is we all come from Latin American countries, so that's there. I don't play in the band anymore. I just do it behind the curtains thing, like the managing stuff. But I used to play the percussion, and every song would have some kind of percussion, right? Whereas in mainstream rock or any of the other variants of rock here, it could be there, but it also cannot be there, and it's not a problem for us. It needs to be there,
Right.
and so I think that it's very important recognizing that it's a Latin band, but at the same time we don't want to fit in a box. Like Latin music also is a label here, and people expect it to be dance music, and no,
Sure.
we are a rock band, and I think. Did I get it right, guys?
I think so. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
I think that's a good description, though, because I mean, like, one of the things that's interesting about the band too is that you're not, when people think of Latin music, right? They're thinking of usually a particular country, whatever that country might be. But you have backgrounds from all over Latin America, and you're bringing those sounds together, and then also having the Canadian influences kind of on top of all that, right? So Latin rock makes sense from what I've heard anyway. I think that's a good descriptor.
I like to call it like you know, you have alternative rock.
Yeah.
I think alternative of the alternative rock.
Okay.
Because you know, we're just really out there. But yeah, as Jaime was saying, I don't know if that's something that we embrace, the fact that we are from Latin America, but it's not like we are doing it on purpose. You know, it's like it's just the fact that we are from Latin America, most of us. So we incorporate all this. So you have one heavy rock song that we have a charango in. You have another rock song that you say, oh, that piano sounds lovely there. Just put a piano. We have trumpet too, just because we like the sound of those instruments, and we are willing to try. So we don't say like stuff like, you know, just leave that out of. We do also too, but we don't say just leave it out of the equation because it doesn't fit the category of. No, say hey, that sounds good. Throw it in there.
Yeah.
And I guess what I get from working with the guys is that the band doesn't want to be labeled as a Latin per se. You know, they're still trying to find their sound, and it has very strong, you know, like rock and Latin influences, but it's still a Leon sound. And because we're really wary of getting into these boxes, because for artists like this one, it can become an advantage and also a disadvantage. You know, there's these boxes that the industry talks about, like world music.
Yep.
These days they're talking about BIPOC, you know, Black, Indigenous, and people of colors music. And that instantly puts you in a box for everything that's coming up, like whether it is awards or festivals and grants and everything else. And that's very dangerous, I think. We're in Canada, we want to be a Canadian band, and that's it. And that's why we are so, it's difficult for us to put it in words, whereas we know we need to have an elevator pitch that you can give people in 1 minute and say, this is what we play.
Yeah.
But we're afraid of fitting in those boxes that are very, we can very easily fit in, you know what I mean? Because of the fact that we are from a different country, we speak a different language, and we have different instruments. And I think sometimes we have this, it's a little bit of politics here, but we don't agree with that. A lot of the bands, like we're friends with Jorge from Mariachi Ghost, and you would see he's very active in posting things about, well, what's this thing called world music or ethnic music? All music is made in this world. So all music right? So, and all music is making from people from a different ethnic group, right? So
yeah. Well,
you know what I mean? So,
maybe one more. I don't want to dwell on the genre thing because it is an annoying question, and especially when you're doing so many different things like you guys are. But the last thing I want to ask about that is you have this album coming out, right? How do you market the band then? Because in a situation where you're releasing a record, you sort of have to, right? You have to say, oh, this is a new album by blank band, and then you have to explain sort of, you know, because people want to easily put it into a box when they're reviewing it or figuring out where to put it in the record store or on a playlist. So is there a way to do that without kind of getting you stuck in this world music category, or a category that doesn't really suit what it is you do?
I think the way to do it is like just say, you know what, it is just music.
Yeah.
So are you looking to hear from music? Are you hungry for music? Yeah, what does music? Just it's the same like cooking for somebody. Yeah, I'm hungry, Yeah, I make this. What is it? Just eat it, man. Are you hungry?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, but at the same time, I think, Sam, you're also coming from the perspective, like if we were, when we're filling a form for, say, a festival or something, we have to check boxes, right?
Sure,
Same
yeah.
way and you can't avoid that, but normally you can also check several boxes. So we check the rock box, we check sometimes the fusion, sometimes the world. If it benefits, if we know we're playing a Latin festival out in Calgary, like we did in 2019, huge festival. If you say you're not Latin, you don't get into the festival.
Right.
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
we're gonna be checking that. But if we're applying for the Winnipeg Folk Festival, maybe we want to be a world artist because there's more room for that than for rock band. But
Well, that makes sense.
if you hear the music, you'll hear rock. Like that's what you'll hear with Silvio's drum set. He's a rocker, and I think you can see that on his playing, his attitude, even his hair. I think he got tattooed just to be more like a rock drummer.
Yeah.
But we also sing in Spanish. Most of the songs are in Spanish, and I think Spanish rock that could work. Latin rock works too.
Right.
But again, we don't want to be in that box per se. And rock fusion. I think those three. That's what I would think. But again, it's difficult because it's a multicultural band. And again, that's another box, but that's Canada at the same time.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
I like to think that it is a band that reflects what the city has become in a lot of senses.
Sure, and it's a benefit too, right? Because you do have the difference in sounds where you could play a rock festival or a folk festival or a reggae festival or a Latin festival. You have enough different elements of different sounds that you're kind of malleable in that way, right?
Yeah, and we ended up we've played Reggae Fest here. We played the Fiestaval in Calgary. We have to cut our losses sometimes when we don't fit in a category that people expect us in. But we can also gain a lot of benefit from that, and that's been something cool to be able to reach so many audiences. And we even see it in our shows that we have people in their 50s and 60s that are going and dancing, and we have some teenagers, we've had punks, we've had white people, colored people. It's so that's something really cool to be able to reach so many people and so many spectrums with just 2 or 3 songs. That's something that we do well, I think.
For sure, yeah. So just let's move on from that, because I mean it's an impossible question, right? What kind of music do you play? You play music, like you said, right? It's good music. You want to hear it. But you have this record that you've been obviously working on. You're going to be putting it out. What has it been like to do this during the pandemic? Because I mean, it's such a weird time for literally everybody around the world. But to be doing something creative in this time also has its challenges with things like distance. You can't necessarily be together to record, to rehearse. What has this whole process been like with getting an album ready to release, and this is the world we're in?
It's been interesting. It's been very interesting. Yeah. Sorry, Sylvia, go on.
Go ahead. You go ahead to tell yours. That you get that one.
I guess it is frustrating to not be able to be in the same room. I want to attribute it to our Latin heritage to need to touch someone and to need to be close. And when I see these guys, I hug them. I don't say hi. So having that the 6 feet sucks, and especially not being able to get too many people together, not having all the practices. That has been difficult. But the creative process has been productive. I think that being forced to be home and to being forced to write, and I think that we've gotten some good stories. We've gotten heartbreaks have happened that have induced some good songs. Situations that are happening in the world that we're seeing have induced some cool things. So yeah, like with many things with us as a band, we have to be able to see the positive in certain things, and it's been productive in that way.
I'm gonna talk from the manager's perspective now, and I think that my advice is first when they had the funding, they were applying for funding, and COVID hit hard. The beginning of 2020, we had to cancel a tour. I had booked them a tour in Western Canada, some very interesting places, some of the places we really wanted to play, out in Edmonton, Calgary, Saskatoon, and it was really hard. That was hard. We had planned, a year of development. We just achieved in 2020. We achieved the Factor Artist Development Grant, and that's a milestone in itself. And that means that you work really hard to fulfill the grant and also to meet all of those goals. But musicians, we work based on a cycle, which is you write music, you record it, you release it, you tour, and then you
start over again. Yeah,
you rinse and repeat. So
yeah.
It's really difficult when you get that cut by the middle and everything has to be replanned and rethought. And the first question was, should we record this? We had planned the record. Should we do it? And the guys were very adamant in that it's a creative moment. We need to do this. So that was the first thing, getting to do it regardless of knowing that the cycle was not going to be there for us.
Yeah.
Right now we should be planning a tour to really get some of the money back that we invested in the album. That's not going to be possible. So they were okay with that, and I think that shows how much this band loves what they want to do, how much the creative forces behind, and how much they want to give it to the public. We know it's going to be a loss in so many senses, but it's going to be a win in so many other senses, because you're saying just the fact that we're doing this in a pandemic time, it talks a lot about also the compromise and the strength of the band and what they want to do. Second is, now we have to release it, and everything is online or at the distance. There's some live venues that are doing things, but still not up to what it was. I mean, our last gig with the guys was Times Changed, almost exactly a year from last Saturday.
Okay.
And what it was, there was many moments that we had planned up to this release on March 27th. Right now we're working with maybe 10% of what we had planned, because that's what it is for us and for many others. But I think just the will of not stopping and releasing the record and working on the record, regardless of, it showed me another level that I didn't know. I thought these guys were, and I would be okay with just postponing everything and just rethinking and just using the time to write more songs and everything else. They didn't want to do that. They wanted to go and record. They wanted to, pay out of pocket if we didn't get the grants. And at the end, we ended up getting some funding, which is being really helpful. That's a different story also to say about the Canadian music industry and its resilience. We have been really, we're really thankful with, for example, Manitoba Film by Music. This concert on March 27 is fully funded by them.
Oh, cool.
And again, and that's really, it shows also the resilience of the community and not only the band. The band is part of a group of musicians and the music community in Winnipeg and in Canada in general that has been able to show some resilience. And, this album, if anything, is a lot about that.
Okay. What is the story behind the show on the 27th, and how have you found a way to do this despite venues being closed, live shows pretty much not happening at all? What was the solution? How did the live stream thing get set up?
Well, I think it's a weird time for us to do a show. First of all, we have a couple of things. This band, Leona Stranger, I think it's a band that sounds good live.
Yeah.
So for us doing all this, because we put a lot of energy into the show, so not having the chance to do that during all this time and to have to come up with some different kind of show, I think we are all learning from this experience as well. And then the Village Idiots were doing. They've been doing this live at the Roslyn thing for quite a while now, which is really successful. That's great, and we are happy to be able to be a part of. But they are presenting a new kind of format now, and it's basically I think we're just trying a few things out. They give us a little freedom on how to do this too.
Okay.
So one of the things that we are doing is we are going back to Private Ear Recording Studio to do this, just because we know there that it's a big room, it's a huge room. So we are going to be able to, because this is new things that you have to think about now.
Mhm.
We need to be separate from each other, and because we still, our idea is also that to show people that you can still stay home for a little longer. You know what I mean? Until we can figure this out, everyone's figured out what's happening with COVID-19. So we're going to be able to provide you with some entertainment. So stay home, enjoy this, and we're going to be able. So you want to show people too the fact that this could be produced well, and they can stay home.
Yeah.
And then, but on our part, on our side too, we also have to take all these precautions. And so one of the things was like, let's find a big studio for us to be safe, right? And it's be pretty much just try to plan it on the as we go, and also with the rehearsals as well. The good thing about this is that as we are playing the songs that we just recorded,
Mhm.
we have everything in an audio file, so we can say, hey guys, let's listen to this. We don't need to get together if we all learn the parts.
Right.
You know
Right.
what I mean? So we're just trying to figure out, to be honest. But I think it's going to be a good show, and I don't know. I forgot what you asked me. Even.
Yeah.
No, it's cool.
How do we set it up? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and so there's the Village Idiots are involved, which is great because they've been doing this for a few years now, and they've really been doing a good job of highlighting visually a lot of artists that the live show is important for, right? I mean, you aren't the only ones that they've had on there that really benefit from the live setting. And I understand it's not just the live show you're doing as well. There's an interview portion as well, right? There's some other content that's happening. What can you tell me about that?
So this could be, we divide the show in three. I don't want to give it out that much, but we divided the show in three parts, and we're gonna have a little bit of interviews, also talking about the creative process of the songs, the all the way that they've been, all actually what we've been through to this point, and also we have we're gonna be doing a little bit of a surprise, I'm gonna say, interview, and that we got Joe Paul Peters to chat a little bit and see how much.
Cool.
Yeah, how much he struggled in recording us.
Oh, really? Okay. Okay.
I think that's what we want. Well, we want to talk to him, and he's been great when we work with him. We found it easy to work with.
Yeah.
So I think we're just gonna talk all about that, and some news, and what is that we're gonna do next too. Right?
Okay.
Okay.
He's worked with everybody, right? He's produced, like, the amount of local artists he's produced is crazy. So I imagine that maybe, I don't want you guys to give it away or anything, but is the challenge is just the style of music that you play? I'm sure he doesn't get a lot of Latin fusion bands coming through his studio, right?
I was there one day only in the studio with the guys. They called me to play percussion one track. And I can say that one of the challenges is how good he is. He doesn't just want to record something and fix it later or edit it later, which in many cases works fine. He's an artist of his craft, and I think there's no surprise in the fact that he's just won the Canadian, the Western Canada Music Award for Best Producer of the Year. I think he's totally deserving. He is that good in terms, and also that's, I don't know the word in English, strict, exigente. How would you guys say that? Strict, or he will do as many takes as it gets. Okay. And the style of the band, Silvio gets it right. We're a live performing band, first of all. This is the first serious studio work that the band has done. And I think that was the challenge to get an act that's so used to play live, to have that energy, the jam, energy, get it into the studio and transform it into a product. And I think JP did amazing in that. So that's part of, we want people to know about that process. How do you get a band like El Leon, which is a party band in many senses? Yeah. Full of energy, full of, it sounds so good when it's on the stage. How do you get it into a record that makes sense to you? Because now we're talking about 9 songs that if you're dancing on the floor, they all make sense because we keep the energy going, and but how do you put that in an album that people will want to listen? And so JP gave it a sonic quality. I think a solid sonic uniformity. He even played in some of the tracks.
Okay.
And
Okay.
and you know, I don't want to give away that part because I hope that's part of the surprise too. But we want him to talk about that experience because it was a life-changing experience in terms of the development of the band, working with such a producer.
Yeah.
Now we got the tracks from JP, and this is excellent news too. They were mastered by Andres Mayo. Andres Mayo, just so you have an idea, he was the president for many years of the AES, which is the Audio Engineering Society in North America. He
knows what he's doing, obviously. Then, yeah.
Obviously, you know, and he got the tracks, and his thing was, I want to check the tracks, and if they need any revisions, is JP okay with that? He only found four small things that, and you know, he said he was so amazed at the work that he's done.
Cool.
And I think it talks about, because with a band like this, it's not so like this shouldn't surprise anybody. If you're doing a first record, there's going to be a lot of challenges and a lot of learning processes. The band is going to grow, and second record is going to be smoother, and everything is going to be easier. But the first one is the first one.
Yeah.
It didn't feel like with JP there. You know, he was so supportive. You know.
Yeah,
from that,
we have some funny stories. I don't know. I remember the first time we got there to the studio, not knowing in a way how serious it was. Serious it was, even though we take it seriously. But I remember we loud song, and we all started playing, and there was a lot of distortion on the guitars. And he, as soon as 1 second after we start playing, hey, hold on, guys! In the middle of this huge mess with cymbals sounding everywhere, and distortion and bass, he said, the third string of the second guitar, which is you, it's a little bit out of tune, so just turn it up to like 10. It was like, and I was, after that I was like, all right, okay.
This guy's got ears. Yeah,
he knows his stuff. Yeah. That's cool. Okay, so we have this live stream happening, and this is the way you're releasing the album because you can't play shows. How can people get the album once it comes out? I mean, obviously you can't sell any CDs at a show because there's not a physical show. So what's the best option for someone to actually check out the record? I'm assuming it's on all the streaming services and whatnot once it's released.
Yeah, we're going to be using a release plan. You know, these days you can do so many things. Like,
sure, yeah,
you can, but we're choosing to release a couple of singles for the live gig.
Okay,
and then we're gonna do continuous releases up to 8 months. By the eighth month, we're gonna have the album available for people. But all the singles will be available in all platforms as they release, beginning with 2 of them on March 27th. And then, you know, there's going to be some things that we don't want to reveal right now, but there's video involved, and then some other stuff that's going to be coming out gradually as we release. By the end of the year, we should have a full album that people can hear from beginning to end, because this is an album. And that was another whole discussion, right? In an era of releasing singles and sometimes double singles people do these days. Should we still do an album in the middle of COVID-19?
Yeah.
And, you know, the band wanted to have that under their belts. A band that I think doesn't do an album, the full experience, to our view, it's not complete. You know, you have to go through that experience and do it in a studio like this, and try to put a concept together, and try to put a sound together. And then you really become a band. That's what we think. Before you can play together, but once you try to figure out all of that, you know, it's a milestone that you have to have. And,
definitely,
that's a rock band right there. You know, if you say, hey, everyone is doing singles. Okay, we're going to do an album then. Everyone's doing 2-minute songs. Hey, you know what? Mine is going to be 45 minutes. It's going to be the next thing.
Yeah, I like that. So if people are hearing about you for the first time on this show, hopefully they're not. Hopefully, you know, people listening into this podcast are already fans and they're excited to check out your record. But if they're new to your music, what's the best way to find out more information, to hear, you know, whatever you have out at the time, to find out about upcoming shows, when shows eventually do happen? Where should they go?
Nobody.
Anybody?
No, I'm just waiting.
Yes, we're talking to we have everything. We have a website, leonstrangers.com. Check us on Instagram. I think we're pretty active on Instagram. That's the best platform to reach us. We're on Twitter as well. We just opened the TikTok. We're not making videos yet, but we'll figure out how to work on that, and maybe we'll do. Yeah,
I don't know.
We-
I don't
we-
know anything about TikTok.
we
I'm too
might
old.
do
I don't
some
know, yeah.
dances on TikTok, definitely. But yeah, we'll have the merch for sure. It's we have some merch as well up for grabs. I know that you're a big fan of physical.
Yeah, I was getting there. I was
audio,
going to eventually ask you if
so-
you.
So yeah, we'll definitely have a CD or something physical to give you, so you can actually listen to it.
Cool.
It's something that we enjoy. We really enjoy. I think that card tests are the best way. So yeah, like that.
I think that one thing that shouldn't escape right now, like now that you're asking that question, Instagram is our social media platform of choice. Like we try to be really active there, and most of what we do is out there. But the online show is on Facebook, and that is because we're doing it with the Village Idiots, and
they use Facebook. Yeah.
We don't want to be idiots as well, not doing it on Facebook.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Facebook is the platform to go for this. Is what they have been working on. They have a huge follow there, and you know they advised us we can do it any way you want, but we have been successful on Facebook. The experience on Facebook has been great, and so we trust them.
Yeah,
we're gonna.
They know what they're doing, right? Yeah.
So if people right now, people should go to our Facebook page, El Leon Band, right?
El Leon and the Strangers on El Leon Band. It's on Instagram. El Leon and the Strangers.
Well, you know what? I'll put a link in the show notes, so people who are listening to this, just look on your phone or whatever, click that, and that'll take you to where you need to go to find the link for the stream.
That's great.
Yeah, it's El Leon Winnipeg. So facebook.com // Leon Winnipeg. And yeah, so that's where people should go right now. But if you want to be up with the news and everything else we do, that's Instagram. In Instagram, we have a link that can take you anywhere, all the platforms, the website, email list, everything else. We're very active trying to, get in touch with people, being engaged with our fan base. We talk to people, we release content, we release lots of stories and everything else. So, it's quite an experience to follow us. And I think people should, if before the show, if you're interested in anything of what we said, or even finding out the sound of the band, that's the place to go. Go to our Instagram, but make sure that you also check out Facebook, because that's where the release will happen.
Awesome. Okay.